It is 8 o'clock. We will bring to order the July 17th, 2025 meeting of the Economic Development Authority. I would be looking for a motion to approve the agenda for today.
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda as presented.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? And we need approval for the minutes from the May 15th meeting.
I will make the motion.
I'll second.
Same thing every time. All in favor?
Aye.
And opposed. All right, first up, today we have a Central Minnesota Habitat for Humanity presentation from Chad and Amy, I believe.
Hello, can you all hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Oh, great. I had to take a quick jaunt to Utah, so I apologize I'm not there in person, but thank you for taking us here. Much appreciated. Let me share my screen. There we go. Hopefully you all can see a PowerPoint.
Yes, we can see it.
And all right, excellent, excellent. Yeah, so Central Minnesota Habitat for Humanity, we are located, our office is located in St. Cloud, Minnesota. And I'll get into a little bit about the history of how Habitat is what it is and who we are. And then kind of roll into the opportunity have with ISD 728. And with Amy here representing ISD 728 or the Elk River School District. So where did Habitat begin? It's kind of an interesting story of where Habitat started. It actually started on a commune south of Georgia, or south of Atlanta, Georgia, in Americus, on a farm called Koinonia Farm. And the interesting thing is it actually started out of the racial civil rights movement. And it was where blacks and whites came together and worked equally and shared equally in what they produced. And out of that, a gentleman named Millard Fuller in particular started to create this program with the very first Habitat house ever being built in Zaire, Africa, of all places. So Habitat obviously is a powerhouse in our country and so well known. It's interesting to find that the first house was actually built in a country that, well, technically actually doesn't even exist anymore. But the official Habitat for Humanity was incorporated or created in 1976 and spread throughout the country and the world ever since. Just a couple quick little myth busters, I guess I would call them. We are home ownership, affordable home ownership. We work in the 35 to 80% of average median income of the area. But we do sell our homes. They are purchased, not given away. That myth, I think, is most people are aware of that at this point, but it's also good to throw out there. The second is that Jimmy Carter did not start Habitat for Humanity. He is just the most well-known longtime volunteer, and may he rest in peace. As mentioned, you know, on the affordable housing spectrum, everything from emergency shelter up through home ownership. And so we work in that home ownership space. And currently we're in the 35 to 80% AMI. We are looking at maybe having to bump that up to 40 to 80. As we know, the ability to purchase a home for anybody these days is continuing to get harder and harder and harder. And please, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to jump in. So as for our affiliate, we've served a little over 110 families through new affordable home ownership. And I'll show you a little map on where those locations are in a little bit. We've also served families with over 100 homes globally. So Habitat affiliates, particularly in this country, tithe to Habitat International, and that money can be directed and focused in areas of our choosing, or it can be general. But we do like to have affiliates that are partners in other parts of the world. And we have actually served, like I say, over 100 in doing that. So it's great that we can do so much. Obviously, a home in the Dominican Republic, you can build for $10,000 versus $300,000 here. So your money goes a lot further. And as I like to say, we're all God's children. It's great that we can do that in other parts of the world. We are volunteer driven. Although in this case, what you're going to see, Central Minnesota Habitat has really evolved a little bit on how we operate with high school partnerships. And what that's allowing us to do is spread our work. We have been very concentrically driven around St. Cloud, Minnesota, and that's great. But that's only part of our entire community that we serve in our service area, which is Stearns, Benton, Sherburne, and Wright counties. And the school partnerships is an opportunity for me to spread that work and where we serve. All right, as for our families, they come to us in a few different ways. Other nonprofit referral partners, employers, and a biggie for us tends to be word of mouth. So bringing them in from all different parts of the community. We do one-on-one training with the families. They do sweat equity on their homes to learn how to operate their homes. They will be doing in the future a program called Home Stretch, which is a certified HUD program. And then currently we have Habitat developed homes that they can purchase. I am actually looking at and have partnered with a bank up in St. Cloud to offer a very low interest mortgage where families can actually qualify for our mortgage, go through the training, and go buy a home in the open market anywhere in our 4-county service area, which should really allow us to, potentially exponentially grow and serve so many more families and really make a dent in the affordable homeownership issues that we have. And then, of course, we offer post-purchase support, so we know those families continue to be successful. The last thing we want is a house back. But like I said, we are selling the homes. So is foreclosure a possibility? Yeah. Does it happen very often? No. But it does occasionally happen. I think in Central Min, it's only happened once or twice total. I should mention, I've been the executive director at Central Minnesota now for a little over 1.5 years. I actually came from Twin Cities Habitat. We're building about 50 to 60 homes a year. As chief real estate officer there. So I've got to see a lot of success. And when you get that many homes going like we had at Twin Cities, the occasional failure, but we're pretty darn good at avoiding those. Our foreclosure rate is 100 times lower than the typical lender. So we're doing pretty good. As for the outcomes for the families, I like to show this. This was done with Wilder Foundation down in the Twin Cities about Habitat for Humanity throughout the state of Minnesota. And this was the results of the surveys that Wilder did. As you'll see, 91% feel better about their kids' future. There's a couple in here that I really like, but 92% of adults have gone or plan to go back to school. Dramatic reductions in public assistance, and 99% attribute the positive changes to Habitat for Humanity. So that's, in the end, that's what we're all about. I guess those are the ones that mean the most to me. All right, next slide. Come on, baby. There you go. All right. This is our service area, as I already mentioned. Yeah, I think we're at 112 now. Apologize, we just closed on another home. And we've been in existence since 1989. And this is just a map showing all of the locations. As I mentioned, we're very St. Cloud centric right now. I would like to, and why we're here, is to be able to expand that and hit a larger cross section of our community. And you will see that we do have 3 homes currently in Elk River. One up in Zimmerman. That surprised me, actually. I live in Zimmerman, just for the record. All right. Now, just to touch on the actual high school partnerships themselves. As I mentioned, this is something we're looking at doing with Elk River School District. However, for us, it's not new. And so we do have 2 programs going on right now. One is with St. Cloud Tech High School, and those projects are called the Tiger Builds because they're the St. Cloud Tech Tigers. And then we have Sartell St. Stephen, which is one high school, where we've done 5 years worth of projects called SaberCon. Both programs have been very, very successful for us. The advantage we've had with these programs, as already mentioned, is the ability to do more with the need for less volunteers. It's going to allow us to expand out into new areas. The biggie that the communities have really loved is that not only are we serving a family, but we're serving the high school students. And these students get to work on the home, build the homes at the high school, and then we move them. The students that are in these programs, over 50% of them so far have went on to the construction trades or post-secondary education in the trades. So we all know that construction is desperate for youth. And these programs have really been powerful in that area to try to get people into the trades. So as mentioned, everywhere we go, these programs have been looked at. Other Habitat affiliates throughout the state are starting to add these programs into their work. One of them has started, another one is starting hopefully next year. And Minnesota Housing Finance Agency has also taken notice and created programs, grant programs to entice schools to partner with Habitat affiliates. Again, here we are. I'll let Amy talk about that piece. And now DEED, Department of Education, I guess, right? They are actually just came out with another incentive program to tie partnerships like this together. So there's a lot of momentum in this space. And I can tell you our success rate has been extremely high. And, you know, I would love to see a program like this in every high school throughout my 4 counties, but baby steps. You might ask why Elk River School District? Because I know Elk River School District is very, ran very well, and I'm part of Elk River School District, so why not bring it to my hometown? So, all right. Oh, yeah, so 10th year in St. Cloud Tech, 5th year at Sartell. Actually, I just closed on the lot for SaberCon 5 yesterday. Let's see if there's anything I didn't say here. Houses are finished on site with volunteers. We still have a large volunteer contingent that we always lean on. And 50% of students move on into construction or post-secondary construction. So with that, I was hoping to, I think, turn it over to Amy to kind of talk a little bit about our partnership and what she's seen and the successes so far and where it's heading.
Thanks, Chad. Good morning. For those that don't know me, I'm Amy Lord. I'm the Career and Technical Education Coordinator for ISD 728. So when Chad came and talked about being in a partnership with Habitat for Humanity, I was extremely excited because it's something that we had been looking at of really expanding our career pathways in our construction area. Currently, you probably have seen the sheds that we build sitting outside the 3 high schools. That's where we're looking at expanding this program to really build a house. So we're going to start it in Elk River, just because it's central. It's also where we have space to be able to do that. We also have a newer principal there that's excited to get on board, and also a newer teacher in our construction area, Mr. Hahn. So they are both energized and excited to make this happen. What it will do is it will actually expand the pathway to increase the trades from just the construction and the building of a shed to really including HVAC, plumbing, flooring, electrical, all of those other components of the trades that really are so important. And we have a lot of students that are interested in learning about these trades and getting that experience before they choose their pathway after high school graduation. We are excited that we are able to receive a grant. I think it's for 99,999,000, because if it was 100,000, they had to do something additional. So, and that was part of that partnership that's going to be able to bring a lot of those supplies. It's also going to be able to set up our space. The partnership also with Habitat for Humanity allows the district to engage in this with less risk so that we can really be successful. If we don't finish a build at the end of the school year, Habitat will continue to be able to take that home and have volunteers build that over the summer so that we can continue to renew this program year after year and the kids continue to get that experience. So we are in the planning stages. So this next year, it's going to be building a lot of the curriculum. We've already done a lot of visits this previous year of places that are doing it. Our teachers have good relationships with some of the schools that are already doing it. So they've already been talking to those instructors and really excited about doing that piece. Overall, like I said, we are just super excited and know that we can probably bring in Zimmerman and Rogers High School to do some of the work, from building some of the cabinets or even looking at having them come and participate in those programs at Elk River, if that's an option that they're wanting to do at that time too. So just really excited to expand the pathway. I think it's a great opportunity for our students to learn, but it also is the opportunity to give back to our community too, which is so important.
All right.
Maybe I'll add, oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna add, you know, I concur with everything Amy said, and but she's done a great job of driving from the school district side. It's been fantastic. The area that will probably be coming back at some point and asking what, you know, the county might have available it's the land. You know, we obviously, the closer we can have the lot to the high school, it saves on moving costs for the home itself. So, you know, whether it be through tax forfeiture or other some type of program, I'll probably be back to, you know, beg for some resources for finding a lot in some fashion, but not today.
All right, any questions for Chad or Amy?
I do. This is Andrew Hulse. I'm County Commissioner for the Elk River area. I'm a big fan of Habitat for Humanity. My dad volunteered for Habitat Humanity for years in Indiana before he passed. So he was very involved with the program, and I've been very impressed with it over the years. One of the things I really like to see is this partnership with ISD 728. But my question is, and it's thinking a little bit outside just the build itself, have you guys explored the idea of perhaps having a broader class? Because I know you guys teach the homeowners how to maintain their house, the importance of, you know, maintaining the electrical system, the plumbing system, the HVAC, all that. And what I find is, in my past history, is most homeowners have no idea how to maintain their home. As a matter of fact, I used to go out and do market research, and I was doing research on a home, and I was asking them about when the last time was they changed their air filter for their HVAC system, and they said, there's a filter, right? And so it hadn't been changed in, 10 years. So I'm just wondering, one thing I've always thought would be interesting is a class to the broader student population around how you maintain a home. It'd probably be just a couple of day class, something along those lines. but it'd be something I think would be interesting to look at, because it would also then expose Habitat to Humanity to the larger student population, beyond just those that are interested in the trades and the shop classes and that sort of thing. So something maybe to consider down the road.
No, thank you. I think that's a great idea. We do something similar for cars, kind of get to know your car, how to change your oil, how to make sure that you're doing all those kinds of maintenance. So doing it within that for the home as well would be a great idea.
I'll add, I was a general manager for a construction company and decided to make a big change in my life. And that's when I started at Habitat 20 some odd years ago. And I took a big pay cut and I started as the maintenance guy. And I can second everything you're saying about it's amazing what gets missed. I saw furnace filters that didn't get taken care of for umpteen years. I was called to figure out how to replace light bulbs. So yes, I think that area of education would be very valuable.
Good. Any other questions, comments?
How do you select the parcels for where the homes go? What does that acquisition process look like?
It's strategic and basically whatever's available all at the same time. So we do a lot of infill. So right now up in the St. Cloud area, we'll purchase infill lots. Sartell has a lot of infill lots, although the lots in Sartell are more expensive. But since we're working with Sartell, I just closed on a lot yesterday. Again, infill. We're looking at starting a 4.5 acre development that we would blow in the infrastructure for in North St. Cloud right now. If we do that, that would be 14 units, and that would kind of take care of our land acquisition strategies for a little while for that area. And then opportunistic, like I say, it's talking to cities, it's talking to counties, and it's trying to find resources. A lot of times it could be, well, in your case, it could be, if it needs to be financial resources, it could be the trust funds or CDBG or whatever we would probably be coming and asking for. So it's really opportunistic based upon the funding source, and then strategic based upon, when we have those opportunities. So it's a mix of all.
Good, Murray? All right, anything else? Well, thank you very much for taking your time to educate us on Habitat for Humanity. Very good program.
Thank you very much, everybody. And it was a great pleasure to be here, and thank you, Brian, for setting this all up.
Absolutely, and thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Take care. Thanks, Amy.
All right, moves us to number 5, Peachtree Family Institute revolving loan fund application and presentation. Brian has his name after this one.
That's right. Yeah, so I have a brief PowerPoint presentation here, which will bring up, kind of going over the request here. So Missy is here with Peachtree Family Institute as the owner of Peachtree, and our first slide starts to get into some information about Peachtree here, once we get this going. There we go, that works too. So Peachtree is currently located in Elk River, right off of Main Street, just north of the Walmart on Main Street there. They occupy Suite 3 of their building currently as just a lease of Suite 3. They're looking to, and actually will purchase the entire building, which is Suites A, B, and C, and expand into that entire property and really grow successfully through that acquisition. They were established in 2024 and have really exploded with the amount of customers you guys have. I think you have waiting lists for pretty much all of your services. And I'm sure that Brent and Josh can attest to some of that too, as far as some of the site visits we've all done out there. So the goal here is to purchase that entire building and fill out, and that would create 6 new full-time positions and 2 more part-time positions. They're currently at 2 full-time and 4 part-time. So looking into the in-plan economic impact, And when we add those 6 additional full-time, we get to that 8. So looking at the output there, again, that's just showing us the value added of these 6 additional full-time employees, getting over to that slightly over $1 million mark on the output for these addition of employees in this area. Now, the bread and butter here. So the overall project cost, this is slightly different than your notes. We added the addition of the $80,000 for renovations. That should have been included on the original slides there. That's on me. But that shows the owner's equity and input there. So that brings the total project cost to just over $800,000 through the bank loan contribution and then the revolving loan fund. So CMDC does recommend with conditions, which as soon as I'm finished here, Kevin can speak to some of those conditions, and I have them too. And then as far as the revolving loan balance goes, we actually did just have a company pay off their entire balance. So Sunken Ship has paid off their entire balance, and so they're no longer on our books, which then brings up our total fund balance to $275,000. So it's excellent that they were able to do that. Really bumps up the amount of funds we have to be able to lend out here. And unless you wanted to add anything else to that, I can see what Kevin can say to the approval with conditions on the CMDC side.
I'm not quite sure what part you want me to add there.
Yeah, no, I think it's been a pretty long process for you as far as working with the seller, and I know Missy's worked and also with the city of Elk River with some of the zoning side, which I think Kevin will speak to as well. But I know it's been a long process for you, and it's an exciting endeavor for Peachtree. And I know that you have the amount of customers and the ability to do that growth is what you've been mentioning. So.
It wasn't part of, it wasn't on our radar, it wasn't part of our plan. We wanted to expand just by leasing, and we got stuck with some renovation requirements to make things soundproof, to have flow of the building, and with the owners, it didn't work out, but they offered instead that they would sell the property. And so that put us into a different position to look for things and how to make this happen. And so here we are to meet that need to make that happen.
And it matches up with the goals of the program. We're trying to help a business grow from one stage to the next, and lease to ownership is a huge step. So it completely matches the mission of our program.
I'd also speak to it also helps expand the opportunity for people that need counseling and other things that you provide. So I think that makes that's a good thing as well.
Yeah. We'll bring 11 rooms, therapy rooms, in addition by the acquisition.
And I'm a big believer in owning your space so you have control of your destiny. Mm-hmm.
And Kevin, did you want to briefly speak on some of the conditions that were part of the CMDC recommendation?
Certainly. Good morning, everyone. First of all, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Good. Good. Well, good morning, everyone. Brian, Dan, thank you for the opportunity to share some information about this project. Mr. Chair and board members, good morning. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Kevin Weirs. I'm Senior Vice President and Chief Lending Officer of Central Minnesota Development Company, and we do business as CMDC. And we've had a long-standing relationship with the county in providing services, underwriting, loan closing, and loan servicing services for the county's revolving loan fund that we're visiting today. So I believe the last time I think our group, and I think it was specifically me, was in front of the board members was last year for a project. I think it was actually our McPete's up in Big Lake was the project we last presented, but we have an opportunity for a new project that we're reviewing today. And so just a quick summary of what we look at when the services that we're providing specifically where we're at today is from an underwriting standpoint is, and I'm going to give a real general summary of what we do here is fundamentally we look at a number of factors in our analysis, which includes the business piece of it. Certainly that looks at what we look at is the industry and the viability of that industry, the business itself, and to some extent the history of that business. And then certainly from a repayment standpoint, we do financial analysis. So that's kind of what we look at from the business. That's one component of our analysis. Second one, layering it in a different direction, focuses on the individuals or owners of that business and the management. So we look at that, the individuals, both from a personal standpoint on credit and their financial, own personal financial performance and position. And then third, to some extent, more of a lesser, albeit it's certainly necessary, is a collateral position. What we're financing, the fixed asset. This is a fixed asset loan program, and so we're financing. The loan proceeds are used to assist with either purchasing or renovating, typically a fixed asset. So those are the three high-level categories that we do our analysis on. So with that being said, we did when our CMDC staff looked at this with all three components. We looked at the business as in an industry that, good or bad, I guess. When you look at health services or mental health services, is the demand is there and growing, as Missy probably has already attested to or could attest to. So we certainly believe that the industry itself is not only stable but probably growing. The business itself is certainly recognized as a younger company, having just actually started operations in the beginning of 2024, so it is a younger, newer company, but it is completely evident that Missy has done an amazing job of building the reputation of the business itself and growing the business, and of course that's the reason we're here, is that the demand is there, and she has an opportunity to expand the business and take it to its next level by purchasing these all three of these units within this one building. So the business is done a really nice job. And then from an overall financial analysis, we've looked at that and received financial information, as well as projections that Missy has put together that is really kind of the basis of making a credit decision on the repayment ability, is the ability to execute her business plan and meet those projections. And she's put a lot of effort and time and thought into the process of how she wants to grow the business, and her projections seem viable. For those of you that have seen me present or have done this before, when it comes to financial projections, I always tell people I've never seen projections that didn't look good, and that's over the course of some 34 years of lending. But the viability of these, I think Missy put together a nice business plan that and the projections certainly seem viable. So we have a high level of confidence that the financial projections and the historical performance, which is showing some very good growth, bodes well for Missy and the company. On a personal side, Missy has got a very good credit history. She has managed, she and her husband have managed their personal affairs personally very solid. There isn't any concerns. We didn't see anything from a derogatory standpoint. So overall, again, on the personal side, Missy and her family, are pretty, solid in that regard. And then last is the collateral position. What the loan, the county loan will be in a third lien position behind the overall financing in this, and the financing for this project includes a bank lender, which I think it's Citizen State Bank is the bank that Missy's working with, and then an SBA 504 loan, which by the way, CMDC is also facilitating with that. So there's going to be two senior liens in front of the county loan there. So, the strengths of the deal is this, we got strong personal credit history from Missy, and we're certainly seeing very positive financial trends with what we deem to be very viable financial projections. So we have a lot, we feel that, the confidence level is pretty good there. Albeit the company being new, and doesn't have a lot of online reviews, and you got to kind of take that for what it's worth, right? When we look at reviews, but we look at that. She does have a 5 out of 5 star rating on Google reviews. I think with 7 reviews, so not a lot, but nonetheless they're positive. And again, we see the continued need for the services provided by the company. So those are really the strengths of that deal. We're making a recommendation to approve this subject to a few things that Brian had just already mentioned to you, and I'll kind of explain those here. Is currently the zoning for that particular building for the services that Missy is going to provide needs to be rezoned. So she's, I think, scheduled to work with the city and have that rezoned. That's, I believe, in the middle of August at the city's rezoning committee meeting. And we're requesting and asking that the zoning be rezoned to a C3 for highway commercial. So that's one of the conditions. A second condition, which we're making it a condition, is that the appraised value of the property be at least $746,650, which is essentially the purchase price of the property and some of the fees associated with that. And then the third and is more of just a continual and it's a requirement in all transactions that involve real estate, is that we have acceptable title and closing requirements. So those are the 3 conditions that we recommend with the approval of this request. So with that, I'll turn it back to you, Brian, if anybody has any questions.
Excellent. I don't know if Josh or Brent want to speak to the rezoning at all, but from what I'm tracking, the Planning Commission will be looking at it in their July meeting, and then if it gets approved and forwarded on to the City Council, it will be looked at the City Council meeting in early August. So, good.
Got it.
I just had a quick question on the rezoning. Is that whole complex getting rezoned to the C3, not just their 3 units, the whole, what is it, 1 point some acres?
Yeah, it's 9 units.
Yes, okay.
Combined, it all would be rezoned.
Do you guys see any issues with that?
No, I don't wear the planning hat that often, and I think that was, and Josh, maybe you probably a little more involved, so I'll start, but I think that was kind of a very unique area where you've got commercial uses to the south and north and a little bit residential starts to creep in there, and this was kind of always a unique area, I think, of how it kind of got developed, but it's got a commercial vibe to it, so this is probably in a lot of ways making it more compatible to what it feels like and should be.
What is it doing now? Business park, and it does align, the rezone does align with the comprehensive plan.
All right, any other questions? Are you looking for a vote on this today?
Yes, we are.
All right, I would be looking for a motion to approve the request for Peachtree Family Institute for the revolving loan fund for $100,000. Motion by Madam Commissioner,
I'll second.
second by Laura, all in favor?
Aye.
And opposed. Motion carries.
Congratulations.
I feel like I'm in Gilmore Girls.
Okay, that brings us to number 6, homeowner rehabilitation loan program update also, Brian.
Sure. So this will be a quick update. Just wanted to provide the update that the original goal was to bring it to public hearing in June to get it over the finish line, but we really spent some time with the county attorneys looking over every line of this and really making sure that all the ducks were in a row. So that process took a little bit longer than we had first projected. So then that pushed us to go ahead and do the public hearing this upcoming Tuesday at the county commissioner meeting. So that's the main update there. Small changes to the wording of just very minimal changes from the county attorney. We did update the household income because again, this program can go up to 115% of our AMI, and HUD has increased just a little bit our area median income. Thank you, Missy. So that brings it up to 152,000 is 115% of our AMI. So we just updated that a little bit to get that correct. Other thing being as well, in addition to the EDA reviewing the applications that come in and the staff reviewing applications that come in, it will be ultimately approved by administration and Bruce as the grants supervisor, or the program supervisor. So that was a small tweak as well, just to figure out who the final approving body is. But apart from that, no other changes, and we're looking forward to the public hearing on Tuesday. From what we're tracking, we don't expect any public opposition, but it was published in the newspaper as we need to, and that should be getting us over the finish line for this program, and then we can look into the future for what other programs we'd like to offer out of the thing here.
All right, don't need any action steps on this, correct?
No action steps.
Brings us to 8, Region 7W resolution of support approval.
The Big Lake Post Office is prior to number 7.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, letter of support for the, to try to keep the post office in the general area, shall we say.
And I can handle
Marie,
this.
do you have any updates on this? I heard a little bit of back talk at our meeting yesterday, but maybe.
Yeah, I can give a little bit of one. So the last discussion that was held, there was a gentleman that's based out of Denver. He's more on like the site selection, real estate side, but kind of per his recent discussions, it sounds like the intent currently with Big Lake would be to keep the current site, current building for, like, say, residents and day-to-day stuff. So if you need to go to the post office, get stamped something, you would still be able to do that. It would just be the carriers, so people that are out delivering mail, that would be relocated over to Monticello. So they'll have a longer travel time, but currently, current thought is anyways to keep the current site as is and offer the services. There has been some discussion, I've been working some of the channels to see if there would be a developer interested in potentially building a post office to solve their needs, keep everything in town. We do know there is someone that would potentially be interested in that, but we need to go back to the guy in Denver to figure out is that what the post office wants. They're not exactly sharing all their details yet, but there could still be some options. So at least at this point, it doesn't look like it's leaving in its entirety.
Do you still need the letter then?
I think we do, because we've been pushing, saying, no, we want this and keep it here, so it would still be helpful to have that. I don't want them to change their mind and be like, well, actually, we're just gonna keep moving everything over to Monticello, so it would still be appreciated.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I was on a call yesterday with Emmer's office, and this came up as well. And I think it's highly important that we continue to push, and it does sound like the person you might be talking to in Denver doesn't always know what they're thinking in Washington. This is an organization that doesn't seem to know what the right hand and the left hand are doing. And we need to make sure that we are very firm on what it is that we want to see happen with our local post office in a community. And I did speak to, we're in a growing area. This city is growing. This region is growing. And to reduce our post office to just being an walk-in service, and that post office is, I'm surprised that they haven't been sued yet because they have no handicap accessibility. It is marginally acceptable at best. So I appreciate the thought that we need to keep pushing to get our full service and the route carriers to stay here. One of my comments on this letter is I think we need to be really a lot more firmer on the numbers, get an understanding. I think it's one of the larger post offices. There's 8 routes, and it would be good to know and talk to Kelly at the post office how many customers are on those routes. And I know that if they would expand their boxes, if they had that opportunity in a new building, those I'm sure would fill up. I just think it's extremely short-sighted thinking.
So I'd be looking for a motion to approve a letter of support for the city of Big Lake.
I'd make a motion to that effect if we can tweak these numbers.
Well, that's up to the city. They wrote the letter, or.
Yeah, Hannah sent it to us.
Huh?
Hannah sent it to us, yeah.
Can you guys tweak those numbers? You're a council person.
Okay, so that's not a condition of your motion, it's a suggestion.
It's a suggestion.
Okay, so the motion is to approve the letter.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? I will mention that. All right, now on to number 8. And yes, the post office having experience there, the right hand actually doesn't even know what the right hand is. So it's gonna be a tedious and interesting process.
And I just also want to say that Emmer's office was very supportive of involving, and it sounds like they have done some discussions and stuff, and they totally concurred with the need for that post office to grow.
The Region 7W resolution of support of approval, Brian and Dan.
So I'll take this one. Over the last several years, we've been working with our neighbors in Wright, Sherburne, Wright, Benton, and Stearns to create an economic development district with the federal EDA. We've had a lot of stops and starts with this, but we're actually at a point where county boards are discussing it. We'll be going to the board on Tuesday to discuss the topic. Stearns County had a nice discussion this week. I'm actually going there on the 29th to speak with some of their commissioners. And then Benton County also had a discussion, and they're set to vote on August 5th. Wright County at this time has decided not to participate, and I can't speak for them, but it sounds like they feel this is another level of government. So right now they're just not comfortable moving forward, but we're still eligible to move forward with the majority of the counties in the region. So we do have 3 of the 4. We are able to submit our application. So on Tuesday, we'll be asking the county board for permission for the IAF Initiative Foundation to host the organization. So it'll be a neutral party. There was always some concern that if we hosted at one county, they would get more time and more effort put into that county. A neutral party, we're able to split up the work and make sure everybody's equalized, and then give them permission to submit the application to the federal EDD. And then we're also making a commitment, once the advisory board is established, we'd have at least 1 or 2 members from Sherburne County on that board. So I'm not looking for any action today. This was just an informational update because it is one of our strategic priorities, but it will be for formal action at the board meeting on Tuesday.
Any questions regarding this? I think it's,
Yeah, you'll see some examples on that handout if you go to page 2 of some of the communities that have benefited from this. There's a few talking points on there, and then it shows some fairly large awards that have been brought to these communities.
I really, a lot of positives. I don't see many negatives, and I don't know how this kind of while we're not already there, so it's good to get to this.
And I'll just mention from a funding standpoint, we're not asking for any funding. We have a grant to cover this through 2026. And it is our hope to bring a lot of money into the region at this time. If there's success, we might come back and ask what that would look like going forward from a contribution standpoint. If we don't have any success, obviously it's a different conversation and we can dissolve at any time. But the hope is with our coal community, the coal community money that's out there, we think we'd be successful over the next 12 months, bringing money to the region.
So the Wright County thing, is it gonna be
At this time, they're not interested, but like.
is that gonna affect your application?
It's not gonna affect their application, no. No. And they'd still be eligible for funds, but obviously since we're contributing a lot of the staff time and funding as we go forward maybe, that we'd have, our priority would be the 3 counties that are involved. But they could join at any time too. So like I said, if we have success, I think they'd have more interest in participating.
All right, great. On to the executive director activity update.
Yep, and since,
You want a bullet point?
yeah, since we didn't meet in June, the list is a little bit longer just because we've been plowing through the summer. I think the 2 main things just to pull out is that we are working really closely with Wright Economic Partnership with Missy over there to bring the Initiative Foundation's Enterprise Academy down into Wright and Sherburne County. So we are actually starting an Enterprise Academy, which is a 10-week cohorted entrepreneurship program similar to the ILT Academy, but it's just in person, and it's run through the Initiative Foundation. They have a lot of success with these programs, and so we're able to pull a program to start in fall. That will be a joint Sherburne County, Wright County focus for entrepreneurs. So we'll be starting to put marketing material out there. We're working with the Initiative Foundation on the final steps. This is no cost to us, and it will actually be in person. So we decided the best kind of neutral spot would be the Monticello Community Center, and the city of Monticello is willing to kind of provide that space for a discounted fee, which the Initiative Foundation is covering. So it's a really great, exciting program, especially with ILT Academy grant funding ending. We wanted to continue on something for our local entrepreneurs. And I'd say the other big thing that is getting a fair bit of attention is that childcare map that we've pulled together with our licensing staff and our GIS specialists. We're getting a lot of positive reviews from the community about the map. Parents can just go on and search for that current availability, and it only brings back those providers that are currently telling us that they have that availability. And it's very low maintenance on our side to maintain, and so like I said, we're getting a lot of attention about it. I've been speaking to local communities about it too, to see really our four counties around us, seeing if they want to do something similar. And we've kind of been in those talks too. So that's been a good movement on the childcare side, which can be pretty intractable at times. So it's nice to get a win there. And Dan already touched on the EDD updates there. So those would be the main updates.
I'd like to, not necessarily today, but future agenda item, talk about how we're promoting that childcare map. Just because I think that's something that we're going to have to continue to push out. And it's not something that we can just do once and, assume everybody's seen it, just by the way things work. So it'd probably be worth a 10-minute conversation at a future meeting on how we're promoting it.
Absolutely.
I will add, Brian's done a great job. He's been on the radio a couple times.
Yeah. That's what the donuts are for. Yeah.
And then he was in the newspaper recently, and he also was on the statewide energy transition committee. He uses as an example that other communities can follow. So we're starting that process, and he's done a great job getting word out for now.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've reached into as many of the childcare Facebook groups as we can, kind of spread the word there. Milestones is sharing it on their newsletter. Our licensing staff is sharing it on our licensing. But to your point, it's a continual effort. So I can bring back to the board next month what we've done so far with promotions and getting it out there, and maybe some areas we're looking to keep promoting it.
Okay, perfect.
We got Rotary too. Forgot about Rotary.
Yeah, and Rotary got pushed back, so we'll be presenting to, oh, sorry, you're right, the Elk River Rotary, and I'll be presenting to the St. Cloud Rotary next month as well.
Yeah, to Andrew's point, I think a lot of what we do here, we've touched on this in previous meetings that we do, you know, I think it's how do we market our marketing actually. You know, we have the housing trust fund here that is also, how do we get this out, how do we get this, you know? So I think that's a part of a bigger conversation about how we actually get the programs that we're talking about and the efforts that are being done out into the community and being used.
And on that housing side too, I'll be presenting to the Central Minnesota Building Association. That was again supposed to be this month. They canceled their July meeting, so we'll be presenting to them in August. And then working with Gale, with Greater St. Cloud Development Corporation, with their WJON news spot too. So trying radio, trying print wherever we can, but I think that could definitely be a focus of the next board meeting is where are these opportunities and pursuing them.
Mr. Chair, I had one, I don't mean to put you on the spot, Mitch, but
Let's
I'm
do
going
it,
to.
should we?
But I'm going to.
That's what she's saying.
Yeah. I just wanted to, in regards to, our efforts on trying to, promote, affordable housing and such, and the county passing the ADU, ability, can you give us a brief update? I asked you a little bit before the meeting as to how many have taken advantage of that. Can you just kind of let us know?
I think we're at about 3 right now. One thing we've learned is in the Shoreland District with the DNR, their new model ordinance, it's very strict. So if you're non-riparian, so you're not on a lake and you're unsewered, which we all are, you have to have huge acreage and large lot width. So, and even if you can meet those requirements, it's only 700 square feet. So we're getting people that are in the shore. I mean, that's a problem is that in the county is we have a lot of natural environment lakes that are just out there. Well, they have 1,000 square foot buffer or a 1,000 foot buffer around it. So coming into some challenges with that, some people are meeting it, but we're getting a lot of inquiries. Now that it's actual reality, people are kind of shocked. And so now they're looking into it. So it's going to be some time for them to, we have people that are drafting up plans, getting their financing, but now new residents that are wanting to move from Hennepin County to Sherburne are inquiring about, you know, lots that do qualify for it, and they actually hear that you can do it. They're shocked. So, yeah, I mean, there's still, you know, we're still getting inquiries. Probably have 3 to 4 builds on it. One for sure is up in Palmer. Another one, like I said, it actually worked out for a resident in Big Lake Township. He was supposed to take some improvements out of a garage. At the same time, it was passing, so he was able to keep that. And he's gonna use it for a home business, but for his own office. But yeah, a lot of inquiries. It feels good to tell people that they can do it if they can qualify for it. But and then again, when it is in the shoreland, it does limit it to, you know, 700 square feet, but people are okay with that because it's more for parents and family members. So.
Thank you. See, he rose to the, being put on the spot.
You can't shake much. I'm trying. All right, if there's nothing else then, I'd look for, our next meeting's August 21st. Look forward to seeing you there, and I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, we got 1 and 2, you pick. It was Andrew and Laura. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Right.